Welcome to the comparison of the Ghost Ultra and the Temple Ghost. These are two very powerful early game wrecks, and I'm going to be talking about their strengths and weaknesses, and in the end I'm going to be saying my opinion on which one I believe is better. So starting off with the Ghost Ultra, this vehicle has been around since the beginning of Halo 5, and it is a very powerful vehicle. When Wheelman came out, it made it even more powerful for 4 wrecks. It has explosive rounds that shoot slowly, but has a small AoE radius and does some pretty good damage against Spartans. It has really good armor, and it is a ghost, so it can boost and splatter people pretty easily as well. The vehicle can combat against some light vehicles, not really that great against heavy vehicles unless if you are very agile with the vehicle and you know what you're doing, but it's not recommended to go against heavy vehicles as it does not have very high damage towards them, so it will take a very long amount of time and you'll most likely die in the end. It is very good for mostly getting in and taking out Spartans and then getting out. In terms of taking out bosses, it is pretty decent since it has explosive rounds and it can splatter the light enemy bosses from the beginning of the game. However, as time progresses, the bosses will have more HP and will be in vehicles and stuff like that, so they will be much harder to kill, and is not recommended to use the vehicle to take out bosses. But in the early game, it is a very powerful vehicle since it can splatter enemies, it can take a lot of hits because it has a lot of armor, and when you get Wheelman, it will become pretty much EMP resistant, so you can take out enemies with ease with this vehicle and not worry about a lot of things taking you down. However, a lot of power weapons later on will be able to take you down very easily, so it's best to just use this in the early game and nothing else. Now, moving on to the Temple Ghost, this vehicle is a very good early game vehicle, and the difference between the regular Ghost and this Ghost and the Ghost Ultra is mostly the mobility that it has. You can accelerate a lot quicker, you can move side to side a lot quicker, and the most important thing of all, you can boost a lot faster. This allows you to splatter enemies without them being able to know that you're coming, without them having any chance to react. Since you're moving so fast, they won't be able to dodge in time. And on top of that, you can also shoot while boosting, which is very good for chasing enemy vehicles that are trying to get away, or simply just trying to shoot people while you're driving through and you don't want to stop to kill them. It is a very good tactic to use with this vehicle. However, the downside is that it does not do as much damage as the Ghost Ultra. If you're focus firing a boss or a heavy vehicle, the Ghost Ultra will do more damage over time and the Temple Ghost will not. But the regular shots for the Ghost that come from the regular Ghost and the Sword Ghost are the same with the Temple Ghost, so you can do very consistent damage to Spartans to quickly get in, kill a few guys, and then get out. And the main difference between the Ghost Ultra and the Temple Ghost that I find very aggravating with the Ghost Ultra sometimes is sometimes the shots don't register. I don't know why that is, but sometimes the explosive shots, they do not register and it can get very annoying sometimes. But the Temple Ghost is very consistent all the time, and you're mostly going to want to splatter the enemies instead of shoot them because you want to capitalize on this mobility to stay alive with the vehicle. Now, these vehicles are very similar in their strengths and weaknesses. It's very hard to tell which one of them comes up on top because the Temple Ghost has less damage but more mobility, and the Ghost Ultra has more damage, so you can take down enemies a lot easier in a short amount of time. So when I had to think about which one was better, I had to go with which vehicle could I use the longest amount of time and could kill the most amount of enemies with throughout a long amount of time. And when it comes down to it, since they both have the same armor and pretty much the same damage, however the Ghost Ultra is better in damage, the Temple Ghost is, in my opinion, better because the speed that it has is just so amazing. I love how fast it can go. You can get behind enemies and you can splatter a whole bunch of enemies without them even knowing you're coming. It's really amazing. Also, when you're taking a lot of damage, you can get out of there without a problem because you can outspeed any other ghost or any other vehicle that's trying to chase you. No problem whatsoever. On top of that, if the enemy is trying to escape, they can't get away from you because you are faster than them and you can shoot while boosting, so they will constantly be taking damage as they're being chased. the Ghost Ultra is still very, very, very powerful. I love the vehicle a lot because it has been around since the beginning of Halo, and ever since it was released, people thought it was an overpowered vehicle, and it rightfully was called that because the vehicle just really is pretty game-breaking in the early game stage. But now with all the power weapons that have been released, all the early game power weapons and such like that, the vehicle has been pretty much balanced out now. So because of that, the Temple Ghost being the same wreck as the Ghost Ultra, in my opinion, is just better. If the vehicle was released at the beginning of Halo 5, it definitely would be game-breaking. It would not have been matched at all by anything. So that's all I wanted to say about these two vehicles. With that being said, hope you guys did enjoy this video, and I'll see you later.
Stop.